Good evening, aloha. Let's start with the communion oneness prayer. You're welcome to say the prayer of your tradition. I personally prefer silence. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. Today is going to be an extra long, extra long special due to various happenings that are going on within Hawaii Kingdom itself. And because I don't take sides, I'm for the whole kingdom, it gets very challenging being in my position, honoring everyone's subjective truths and their right to live as per their subjective truth. And there's a lot of confusion going on because of disrespect and lack of understanding of how we all interconnect, and it's not fair to put third parties in the middle when everyone has a right, all rights, all of it. So here we go. So today is brainwashing versus washing your brain. I will attempt in helping grasp the facets of what life is about. And so before we begin, because we are all neighbors in a global neighborhood, and that global neighborhood is of different cultures, different religions, different traditions, different dialogues or contexts and intentions. And the religions or the one dharmas are not the same, they are unique. And so because we live in a melting pot and many are mixed, so knowing what your, not just your own genealogy, but your spiritual genealogy is, so you know who you are and why things start coming out the way they do. And so many, the world is all fighting one dharma, which means supremacist. Recently I'm looking into or learning about Zionism. So one could say Zionism, supremacists, any one dharma, one family, one neighborhood having supremacy issues are going to escalate competition to war. Cannon fodder. So our neighbors, the Congolese man set himself on fire protesting genocide. And so everyone is indebted to those people for the advancement of technology. They have children as young as 4 years old forced to mine raw materials for tech. And this is decades long, and I'm assuming since it began. Now, in order for any collective community to allow 4-year-old children, that must mean there is raping and forcing women to have kids. Otherwise, that would not happen. No mother in her right mind would allow that unless it is so absurd. And for a man to set himself on fire just so that it could reach out somehow, and it came to me. And so the gratitude for me being able to do this podcast, to even have gadgets, if you have a smartphone, any tech, all of it, we're in deep gratitude for these people and the sufferings, and those things need to be made right somehow. So I would like to share the Twitter or the TikTok video that came.
A Congolese man set himself on fire to bring attention to the ongoing genocide and exploitation that is happening to his people in the DRC. The video is circulating all over Twitter, and now it has made its way to TikTok right now. And people are outraged. And I actually searched up the whole situation to see if there's articles on it. And no BBC or CNN or Washington Post, none of these big publications covered it because they want to hide what they are doing in the DRC. So the man literally set himself on fire. Like, I don't even know how he can have that kind of courage, but just to like bring attention to what's happening to the people of Congo. Like, they've been exploited. Millions of people, children at the age of 4 are mining cobalt and coltan and all kinds of stuff for the tech companies and all kinds of stuff. Okay. And I don't know if you have seen the video, but it's pretty heavy. And everyone is taking advantage of the Congolese people and their natural resource, which belongs to them, and they're not even profiting from it. They're being forced to mine it. First of all, do all the hard work, risk their lives, and then these people steal it from them and come and make billions of dollars worth of profit off of these people's lives. So please share this video, make it go wild, even outside of TikTok. If you see other people talking about this, nobody is covering this. There's no news articles covering this. Like, they don't care because they're gonna lose profits if the world wakes up to support the Congolese people and also the Sudanese people and all the other exploitation and genocides in Africa. So please share this video outside of TikTok. Let's talk about this. The Congolese people desperately need us.
Much appreciation for that lady sharing the video. So, going to pose the question again. Is it intelligent to go into college debt slavery to pledge allegiance to the bar, which is British accredited regency, to practice American law in Hawaii Kingdom that's in an official war zone, American occupation? So today is day 24 of the 25 days of force majeure Christmas. Snapchat is very fun. They have all kinds of filters and lenses or whatever. There's one specific one that I'm looking for, but I've yet to find it. So, or something like what I'm thinking, but we'll see what happens in the blessings of being blessed, right? Just ask the cosmos, and the cosmos conspires to make things happen. is so cute. Finds a whistle and he learned how to blow on it, and apparently he likes to blow it all the time. So treaties are contracts, broken treaties are broken contracts, and occupation and war starts. And in maritime admiralty law, laws of war apply to all nations associated with the UN. Force majeure is a legal claim making all contracts null and void in natural disasters, acts of God, war, occupation. Global peace treaty is actual and factual humanitarian law with applicable remedy for full stop. The book written by Vattel, some guy, that's not humanitarian law. Or else why would they posture and threaten, oh, World War III is coming, okay, force majeure. And then they posture and threaten with the pandemic treaty. Okay, treaties are law, right? Treaties are law. Let's get straight. Very straight, very real. Who am I? For me, I am in the process of building a global mobile temple. However way that's going to happen. And so, want a temple in Hawaii Kingdom. But until Hawaii Kingdom is out of martial law and occupation, that's not possible. So, this is pretty much what is the core of who I am. And the first and last nerve is empower with independence. Independent of self is true mother worship. For me personally, I am living the full dynamic of my rights to start my own lineage, Sampradaya, Vibe Tribe family of self-governed families expressing their own liberated consciousness, which is unique. Ensuring up-to-date DNA expressions spiritually, economically, and politically. The female form is the walking temple of life, more sacred and holy than all temples, churches, holy places, and human achievement combined. The last guardians of the future, keeping everything current, including DNA, entrusted by the cosmos, Paramashiva, God. Mothers to initiate third eye and kundalini through umbilical cord initiation. The 460 powers of Mahadeva are real. Hinduism is real. No one will ever grant me my birthright. Women are the source of posterity, thus the right to have one's own country and currency, not the UN, not any one or group. Because time is life, and the exchange rate should be 1 hour for 1 hour exchanges only. So anybody should be able to have their own currency, right? Mother and father is the first guru. All mothers are global leaders. Only Cosmos Paramashiva God granted blessed me life today. Not anybody. Moksha Peace Treaty, which is self-governed sovereignty. How do we make this a global norm again? The other thing that I'm advocating for is to redefine slavery, because you are here paying rent to who is a legit question. When landlords exist, slavery exists. That's a enslavement construct built in. So either everyone owns an acre of land, or no one owns no one owns land. And because of the extent of deforestation, I am advocating for food forests, food walks, right? Instead of sidewalks, food walks, foodscaping, and for Kailasa, or heaven, on Buloka, earth, to happen. So what am I doing? I'm an investigative diplomatic mediator in the global neighborhood. The melting pot of subjective truths. Hawaiian luau interculture, interfaith buffet style. I don't take sides. I am for global peace, family-centric, consciousness-based societies. I encourage everyone to do their genealogy and their spiritual genealogy for the most delicious, beautiful adventure in celebrating your own life so that you can regain what was stolen or hidden from you, your heritage, your roots. And the food, the dance, the music, medicine, spirituality is your DNA. All of that combined is your DNA. So um, yeah. And right now, I'm really tired of seeing and hearing grandpas waving around their crayon scribbles over whose family story is better and more legitimate. We're all here. We all started from the Big Bang, or however way your source is. I'm still here. The cosmos, the entirety of the cosmos, God, Paramashiva, bless me with life today, bless you with life today, whoever you call upon. So all of this superiority complexes, my question is founded on what? Violence, posturing, threatening, imposed ignorance, theft, torture, caging, kidnap, rape, prostitution, science experimenting, torture, murder, and genocide. How does that really matter? It's only to the guy waving around his crayon scribbles on the other side of the rock wall, crazy neighbor suffering from narcissism. Why do I call it crayon scribbles? Okay, you get all this fighting, right? And so I looked and looked at it, the insecurities that come from technology and the human ability to quantum leap in maturity level gets very difficult. And then, like, even with the whole smart cities, really, um, yeah, the people don't want to live in concentration camps. It's essentially what smart cities are well-being. So, going with the holiday season, and not just the holiday season, but any gift giving, let's normalize what we are perpetuating by normalizing handmade gifts, digital gifts, regifting, secondhand gifts, consumable gifts, experience gifts, small business gifts. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas. I'm a cutie good baby. You're a cutie good baby. We're all cutie good babies. Don't weaponize Santa. So going forward, if you travel beyond this point, you will be responsible for costs of search and rescue, full personal responsibility. Because this is hundreds of years and possibly thousands of years um, of conditioning of this narcissism. It has a term now, narcissism, or the modern term is narcissism, of the hierarchical constructs that are slave based, and those have their word constructs, how they communicate, very postured communication, and essentially it's those who come across the actual land of the free, which are earth peoples, First Nations peoples, indigenous aboriginal cultures that are all inclusive in that consciousness diversity, biodiversity, not just the biodiversity, and in that oneness with nature, but also in the consciousness diversity as well, being very inclusive. And so those who were running away from the British are bringing their trauma with them. And of course, with that trauma, without the healing, it also has those cognitive dissonance as well as infrastructural comforts that are not the same as very free people. And so one of the main issues is it's a mental setup. A mental setup is beyond race, beyond ethnicity, because it's a mental setup. It's a thought current. It's an idea that has infected others as thinking it's normal. So the constructs, which include home, that's why I advocate the redefinition of slavery. Now, I'm going to share a quick video on Hawaiian Kingdom land distribution for home use for people to live, which was, well, I'm going to share the video.
You know, if every Hawaiian knew what it means to be an advocate for the Hawaiian Kingdom, it means access to land for every Hawaiian upon hitting the age of 21. When you hit the age of 21, you could go down to the Ministry of Interior and get a plot of land on which to build a house and grow food. Thousands of us Hawaiians from the 1850s all the way through till 1893, where it ends, accessed what are called our native tenant rights and got plots of land for themselves or their family. It's very different than the land system we're in right now, where you got to scrap for money to try to get a down payment. That's the American system of land, right? One person in your family dies, everybody's fighting for that one house. You don't have to fight for that one house. You go get your own plot of land, right? That's the Hawaiian system.
So the whole construct and the way that is constructed mainly for taxes. That's why I'm saying America or US Britain, there's two sides of that coin, but also those two sides, because it's about land ownership and that mental setup of me, mine, that is very toxic. It's toxic for human consciousness. It's toxic for the planet Earth. So it was a very different, that's for Hawaii Kingdom, but it was a very different place where, yes, you shouldn't be having to pay taxes to live, because that's a slave construct. So that are infectious, that are not race-based. It's beyond that. It's how someone operates.
Aloha kako na puahu'el here to Aloha kako na puahu'el here to elaborate on the subject matter that I've been carrying on my story series over the last few weeks, in particular the issue of compromised Native Hawaiian leadership and the mana wahine. It's important for me to note that not all Native Hawaiian leaders are compromised in the same way. Some of our Native Hawaiian leaders are dealing with systems that have been infrastructurally compromised. Mayor Bisson would be a good example of this, where he's coming into power over the county of Maui, which was mismanaged for many of the administrations prior. Now, this is not a conspiracy. There is evidence that executives from prior administrations were taking bribes and giving certain contractors all of the county contracts, right? Favoritizing contractors. And then just all of the annual budget spending on things that have led us to conditions of desertification here on the island of Maui. So spending money on eradicating hoofed animals in mass and allowing for and permitting the continued trend of dewatering East Maui, disrupting the flow of Vai from Mauka to Makai, diverting water from the watershed and taking it into the central Maui plain to grow limes and coffee. And so this has all led us to the predicament we're in, where we're all sitting in a firebox, not just Lahaina. So again, a system that is infrastructurally compromised. So now Mayor Biss is trying to get a handle on it. But even in his capacity as a state of Hawaii judge, also dealing with a system that has been infrastructurally compromised. Everybody knows that there's major discrepancies about the state of Hawaii's rightful jurisdiction over the metes and bounds of Hawaiian territory. But we have Native Hawaiian leaders who are morally compromised, not just dealing with systems that have been infrastructurally compromised, but we have Native Hawaiian leaders that are morally compromised. And I say this because there is evidence that many of our mainstream Lahui leaders are avid drinkers. In this lack of sobriety leads some of our Lahui leaders to make bad decisions, like the decision to collaborate with Hollywood, which we all know is dark and demonic. Okay, we've already experienced this, witnessed it, lived it to know that it is not pono. Okay, when all the Hollywood came to the Mauna, right, came to Mauna Kea, gave us ho'okupu, wanted to be our friends, wanted to be our allies, right? And then what did they go do after that? They went and they bottled water and put the word mana on it. Mana Nalu Water by Jason Momoa. What did they do after that? They went and bottled tequila and put the word mana on it. Again, Terramana Tequila by The Rock. Now, bottled water and bottled tequila itself, are not Hawaiian. And so, who took the ho'okupu from those guys and vested them into the lahui and told them, oh yeah, you guys can be a part of our lahui, right? And then never consult them correctly or correct them that they should not be labeling their products that are not Hawaiian with a Hawaiian word on it. Okay, that is concerning to me. And then we have some of these same Lahui leaders encouraging us to collaborate with Hollywood when it comes to disaster aid. And I don't think that that is good for us to continue to go in this direction of befriending Hollywood and influencing the Lahui to desire or aspire to be Hollywood Hawaiians. In my opinion, this is contributing to the grooming of more Hollywood Hawaiians, and we don't need any more Hollywood Hawaiians. Let me elaborate on the Hollywood Hawaiian notion. There are two types of Hawaiians. We have the Hollywood Hawaiians, which are the ones who are wheeling and dealing and signing the contracts and making the agreements to go forward with projects, proposals, developments that end up harming the real OG Hawaiians. Now, who are the real OG Hawaiians? Those are the Hawaiians who are continuing to rely on their culture and live their culture as a means to survive from day to day here in Hawaii. And then the Hollywood Hawaiians are talking about their culture, singing about their culture, dancing about their culture, and claiming all these things about their culture as a means to sign off on and sell out certain Hawaiian lands and resources that end up harming the real OG Hawaiians, because the real OG Hawaiians rely on access and they rely on resources. And so when a certain project or proposal or development goes up, then now the real OG Hawaiians can't go to that spot or make it past that spot to get to the spot where they need to harvest resources from in order to feed their family. And then the resources end up becoming compromised in the sense of depletion of vitality, right? The resources become contaminated or they become less of. And then the problem is that the Hollywood Hawaiians say, oh, I'm a part of this project, proposal, or development. And then so that insinuates to the entire Lahui, both Hollywood Hawaiians, real OG Hawaiians, and undecided Hawaiians, that insinuates to them that everybody, all Hawaiians, need to stand down. Nobody is allowed to protest this project, proposal, or development because there's a Hawaiian involved. One Hawaiian getting paid this is progressive for the Hawaiians, because when Hawaiian is getting benefits from this project or proposal or development, but it will always be that the greater good for all or majority is the determiner of right or wrong. Not, oh, one Hawaiian making out, so the other 100,000 Hawaiians, we don't care about them because at least one making out. That is not how it goes. That is not the formula for deciding what is pono and what is not pono. And so I have major concerns with grooming more Hollywood Hawaiians. Somebody had made a comment that Hawaii will become a Disney World where there are only Hawaiian actors and there are no longer any real OG Hawaiians. And that is saddening for me. We have to continue to live our culture, embody our culture, and not just use our culture as a costume and put it on whenever we gotta act Hawaiian or feel Hawaiian or look Hawaiian, for some event. We should be being Hawaiians every day in every sense of the word. And so this leads me to the Manawahine issue that I've been elaborating on. I am not a drama girl. I am not about making unnecessary drama, but when I see Manawahine influencing the next generation to desire or aspire to be like Hollywood, or to yearn for Hollywood, or to think that Hollywood is a positive for our people, I am very concerned. And I can say this because I used to be a Hollywood Hawaiian, and I used to be obsessed with the same things that these Manawahine are obsessed with, and it is not good. In the end, it does not turn out to be good, okay? We live, we learn. When we know better, we can do better. And so all of the Lahui leadership should know this by now, that Hollywood is a dark and demonic thing, and that we should not be encouraging the Hawaiians to seek fame and fortune. We should be aspiring to be on our land and to have our water so that we can grow our food, so that we can stay home with our families, because that is true Hawaiian happiness, okay? And again, I should know this because I used to facilitate for the millionaire and billionaires that would come and visit Maui activities here on the island of Maui, right? Experiences, tours. And all these millionaires and billionaires are miserable people. They are sad, okay? And so they come here to Hawaii to decompress and try to live as authentic Hawaiians do, because they know that that's the highest form of bliss available on planet Earth. And so we need to recognize that once you get into the motions of chasing fame and fortune and attain it, you actually aren't happy in the end. And you actually just want to go back to being an authentic Hawaiian. And so might as well skip past all of that, right? And learn from the lessons, right? And just expedite us to the happier reality and just go straight back to being authentic Hawaiians versus trying to, chase fame and fortune. And I see a lot of the Manawahine encouraging and influencing that, right? And idolizing these celebrity figures that are not pono. There needs to be more influencers that encourage the Lahui to desire and demand to live their culture. Okay, that is what needs to be happening. And on the drama girl note, I've come across all of these super generic defenses from the Lahui, both young and old, about me questioning, the Manawahine and the people in which they idolize, Jason Momoa, Beyonce, yada yada. And then so they make all these deflections, right? I'm just asking questions. Do you think it's pono when corporate diverts water, right? Do you think it's pono stealing water from East Maui? Why is it that our Lahui leadership is condoning the collaboration with Hollywood? I'm just asking these questions, and then they all get super defensive. And then here are some of the generic statements that come about because I pose these very critical questions. And some of those critical questions were submitted by the Lahui. Some of them asking, how was all of the Mauna Kea donation money spent? Or how much of the Hokulea voyages are done under tow? Just simple questions. And then everybody gets all defensive, right? And then they state these certain things as a means for deflection. My favorite one is, oh, we all gotta be in the same va'a in order to, get us out of this rut. I'm sorry, but if your va'a is going to the Beyonce concert, I am not about being in that va'a. Because my va'a is trying to go back to the Hawaiian kingdom where, again, we can all live on our land with our water, grow our kalo, and be at home in our ahupua'a with our families. Okay, that is where my va'a is going. So if you're va'a going to the Beyonce concert, I am bailing your providing facts and evidence to counter the allegations that are being made that Mahipono is here to provide food security for us. That's false. So, sorry that my facts and evidence are interpreted as hanaino to you. And then other things like that I'm saying hateful things or that I'm exposing your children to hate. And it's like, you took your kids to the Beyonce concert, not me. You're the one took them to a concert where the dancers are all half naked and twerking on each other. Okay, you exposed them to the heva, not me. Again, twisting the storyline. So anyways, this is the reasons why I have to talk about all of this, because I'm very concerned about the trajectory that, they have put us on, and I am not down with the place and the destination in which they are navigating their va'as towards. I believe we need to go back to Hawaii Oya I'o, and I will be relentlessly advocating for that moving forward. Aloha.
She did a very, so context and intention matters as to from where everything is happening. So even down to handling disputes or behavior patterns that hurt. And I'm putting, or going to be sharing that ancient Hawaiians did what is called ho'oponopono, and that is I'm sure it's a lot more than what is being mainstream shared on what is ho'oponopono. I do hope to be able to find and connect with someone who can share that with me so that I can not only just send people in the right direction for if that is the methodology that they want to go about using, because it's just one, just like there's all kinds of religion, there's all kinds of methods that cultures have decided for themselves to handle conflict and conflict resolution or hurts that has happened. And so for Hawaiian Kingdom, it's Ho'oponopono. There is an African tribe. I was trying to find to see which tribe that is, but there is a tribe in Africa. When someone does something wrong, they take the person to the center of the village where the tribe surrounds him for 2 days and says all the good things he has done. The tribe believes each person is good, but sometimes people make mistakes, which are really a cry for help. They unite to reconnect him with his good nature. So another tribe in Africa, the Himba women, are also known for their unusual tradition of conceiving a baby. In the Himba tribe, the birth date of a child is counted not from the minute it is born, nor from the time it has been conceived by the mother. Instead, the birth date of the child is counted from the very minute a woman decides to bear a child. When a woman in a tribe decides to become a mother, she goes and sits silently under a tree alone and listens carefully until she hears the song of the child that wishes to come to her. Once she has heard the song, she comes back to her man who will father her child and teaches him that song. And when they physically unite to conceive the child, they sing the birth song, inviting the child to come to them. Once a Himba woman becomes pregnant, she teaches the birth song to the midwives and elderly women of the tribe so that when the baby is born, the women can sing the birth song to the child and welcome it into the beautiful world. So when the child grows, the birth song is sung to the child innocence and embrace its identity. The Himba tribe believes in correction and not punishment. The birth song is sung on all important occasions of the person until his/her death. This is the importance of the birth song in the lives of the people belonging to the Himba tribe. We may not have been born in the Himba tribe, but there are always songs that touch our souls. So just keep singing and humming these songs, and you shall always stay happy. So that's just a snippet of other tribes, and there's lots and lots and lots, thousands, tens of thousands. Hinduism is an umbrella term for 10,000 plus indigenous Aboriginal cultures and their spiritual practices and such. And temples are universities for research, as well as immigration centers and place of worship. So for Hindu, to the root, goes to the root pattern, but from that root pattern, it goes from inner image, outer image, others image, and life image. So the gap between the inner image and the outer image is self-doubt, and the gap between the outer image and others image is self-hatred, and the gap between others image and life image is self-denial. So it's a very meticulous, because the completion process, because this is all part of the completion process, and completion is a lifestyle. And with learning that decision making matrix of like meticulous inner sorting and continuously living completion, because life happens. And that is the foundational education for Hindus. And also the cognition from which is that there is no right, wrong, good, bad. There's only integrity. And that integrity is from where that person is operating and doing the actions as they are doing. And so to set the right perspective, or the Hindu, I won't say the right perspective, I take that back. The Hindu perspective, right? When looking at the one of the, or all of the I won't say conflicting, because in the inclusivity it isn't conflicting, but there are factions who are having their disagreements. To me, what I look at as creative differences, essentially. And so I'm wanting to share a perspective from this perspective, reevaluate and look at the situation, because it's just a situationship that just requires more looking in and dialogue. And yeah, here we go.
In a mental hospital, 3 people thought that they are all right and they can go back to home to their regular life. Went to the doctor and said, all 3 of us want to go back, we are okay. Doctor said, then perfectly all right, I am also happy that if you guys leave, Tomorrow morning we will have a test. Then after the test, we will decide who all can go back. Next day morning, the doctor called all three to a swimming pool, and he told them to stand one by one on the diving board. Told the first guy to jump into the swimming pool, which was empty. And this guy saw this side and that side, jumped and broke the hands. The second guy came. He jumped and broke the legs. Third guy came. He saw this side and that side and said, I won't jump, doctor. Doctor said, oh, right. Now you are free. You can go back. You are normal guy. You can go back. And doctor asked, I just want to know why you decided not to jump. I don't know swimming. Understand? Right decision, wrong reason. Right act, wrong reason. You miss the truth. If you learned the yoga just for physical health, you can't relate with Patanjali. When you do yoga, physical health will happen as a side effect. When you do meditation, self-development will happen as side effect. But that is not the goal. If you are taking yoga just for health, if you are taking meditation just for self-development, you are not jumping because you don't know swimming. Understand, right action, wrong reason, you miss. Even you approach the spiritual knowledge to make you more intelligent, more intellectual, not even intelligent, more intellectual, to develop yourself. I have seen many people listen, read all these things just to show that they are someday higher than common people. Just to have one more quote. Trying to read the spiritual philosophies for self-development or to become a good orator is doing the right act for wrong reason. Doing the right act for wrong reason also, you miss and miss. One more danger, doing the right act for the wrong reason. Nobody will be there even to advise you that you are doing something wrong. Because you are not doing wrong. Only the reason is wrong. It is more dangerous than doing wrong. At least doing wrong, people will be there to tell you. If you are acquiring this knowledge, these words, I am only a utility for you. To develop yourself, or to go around and brag, I know this now, you know. Knowing more means little bigger head, little more heavy. If you are sitting here to know more, you are doing the right thing for wrong reason. You are not jumping into the swimming pool because you don't know swimming. Not that knowing that there is no water. If you are here, completely you are being open. You are doing right act with the right reason.
So this next video is going over what's good and what's bad. So this video is no one is good, no one is bad. All of those are subjective truths perceiving based on their own vested interest of whatever that is, that construct is, that person's life construct is, or what they're trying to get or gain. So when looking at yourself as well as others, it's just about the integrity. What is the integrity? Alignment, lifestyle. That's where the difference becomes. And it's only a difference. It's either a right fit or a wrong fit, and then that's all. There's no right or wrong. There's no good or bad. It's just right fits.
Nityanandeshwara Samarambam Nityanandeshwari Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. I welcome all of you with my love and respects. I welcome all the devotees reciting on the third verse of Isavasya Upanishad. Asurya Namate Loka Antena Tamasa Vritaha Tagunste Pretyabhigachanti Yeke Chatmahano Janaha. Listen. Please listen. No one is good, no one is bad. If somebody does the actions which fulfills your ambitions, you call them as good. If somebody does actions which is not fulfilling your ambitions, you call them bad. No one is right, no one is wrong, no one is good, no one is bad. Deciding somebody is good or bad, right or wrong, is purely dependent on how much they are supporting your ambition. So what cosmos answers? What is the answer of cosmos for this issue? The Upanishad, please understand, Upanishads are dharma declaring its authority and authenticity by itself. No human being is involved in it. No human vested interests are involved in it. No. Here, no prophet, no messenger, no son of God, not even God is involved. Understands? Hindu tradition is so bold, God has only second place. The Dharma, Upanishads stand taller than the concept of God. Understand? It stands taller than the concept of God. What is the opinion of cosmos? What's the opinion of universe? How does the universal intelligence addresses this problem of high and low, right, wrong, good, bad? Because our perceptions of good and bad, right and wrong, is far away from the fact or the truth, or forget about reality. What is the cosmos opinion? Who is good? Who is bad? Who is becoming more and more good? Who is becoming more and more bad? Who is doing more and more right? Who is doing more and more wrong? What is right? What is wrong? Who is right? Who is wrong? Who is good? Who is bad? Because Upanishads have to declare this to the universe. They have to declare. They have to reveal this to universe. We have not even attributed Upanishads to gods or even the God. No. We wanted to retain the authority and authenticity as it is. We left it as apaurushya, as it was done, revealed. Understand? Our rishis don't even want to attribute these Upanishads to any gods, goddesses, the God. No. They said it is the cosmos declaring its authenticity and authority to itself. So what Upanishads want to say about good and bad, right and wrong, high and low, in this last 3 verses, Upanishads are declaring beautifully the whole science of life. Almost all the questions of good and bad, right, wrong, who is higher, who is lower, why somebody is enjoying, somebody is suffering, everything is clarified. Understand? Upanishads don't answer question by question. They just bombard the questioner. Upanishads, if they answer 100 of your questions, it is the cosmos declaring its authority, cosmos revealing its authority and authenticity. Here, Upanishads declare right and wrong, good and bad. Reveal the sacred truths about right, wrong, good, bad. To the universe. Listen. Saying yes to life is always right and brings all good things. Saying no to life is always wrong, brings all negative things. All your questions, why somebody who is so good is suffering, why somebody who is so bad is enjoying, all your questions are answered just by this one sacred truth. Now, your questions have thousands of answers in it. When you say why such good man is suffering, you already come to the conclusion he is good man. Now question that answer with this truth. You may say he is good person. You have come to the conclusion. You already have the answer. He is a good person. And why is he suffering? Use this sacred truth and question that answer. As he said and are saying yes to life. Wherever he is suffering, is he saying yes to life? Understand? Same way, if you say, why is this bad person enjoying? Look in. Question your conclusion he is a bad person. Is he saying no to life? Please understand. Dharma is revealing itself. So internalize, catch it and internalize it. Listen. Question all your standards of morals. Question all your concepts of right. Question all your concepts of wrong. If somebody strongly believes sensual pleasures are life and that is the way he expands, he is saying yes to those pleasures, he is saying yes to life. Understand? I'm almost on the edge of getting misunderstood. But I am taking the risk to reveal the cosmic truth as it is. Wait, don't come to conclusion. Listen a little more. But when life or your own inner self teaches you, when your aspirations get matured, maybe it is not all about sense pleasures. I think good name and fame is the real life. When your aspirations get matured, have the strength and powerfulness to move towards it, leaving the sensory pleasures as a second priority. So retain powerfulness when you say yes to senses or yes to name and fame, yes to mental pleasures. Name and fame is the mental pleasure, the psychological pleasure. Or when your aspirations get matured and life raises you to experience the conscious pleasures, understand, initiation, bliss, all these are conscious pleasures. What you experience during the Kundalini awakening or during the completion, when you feel complete Kundalini awakening time, during the initiation, during the energy darshan, without any support from senses or mind, those pleasures are pleasures of consciousness, pleasures of senses, pleasures of mind, atma, atma hana. Spend lot of intelligence, energy, time in introspection, internalizing, internalizing, and take decisions in life. Ability to retain your powerfulness to say yes to the maturity of your aspirations is vairagya. Ability to retain your powerfulness and saying yes to the maturity of your aspirations is vairagya. Whenever your aspirations are matured, they may mature from the pleasures of senses to pleasures of mind and pleasures of mind to pleasures of consciousness and to the bliss of consciousness itself. Tanmayananda, the bliss in the very existence of you. Advaita Anubhava. Advaitic happening, saying yes to the maturity of your aspirations. Whenever your aspirations are matured, but due to powerlessness and inability to say yes to the matured aspirations, if you continue to say yes to your lower aspirations and saying no to the matured aspirations is again Atmahana. Now, if you feel there is certain level of confusion, conflict, contradiction in me, till I grasp and come to certain clarity, what should I do? To what I should say yes or no? For this question, the Upanishad, the answer For this question, we introduce God and Kamikagama. Now comes the personal form appearance. Not before. Till now the context is set, only now the hero entry. Understand, in Vedic tradition, context is higher than hero. Context is higher than hero. You always think hero is higher than everything because you are in the form. Anything presented in the form impacts you, impresses you. That is why context assumes human form is God. Context assuming human form is God if he is still moving the hands and legs and doing actions as you do, is Guru. The context assuming the form as per your perception is God. Context assuming the form to be perceived by you is Guru. Context assuming the form of perception by you. Context assuming the forms as per your perceptions is God. Context assuming the form for your perceiving, happening is Guru. Listen, whenever you have a doubt, question, conflict, controversy, incompletion, unable to internalize these sacred truths and take a decision in the immediacy of your life, all you need is Kamikagama, where the whole truths of Upanishads is transmitted into a user-friendly day-to-day manual. User-friendly day-to-day manual. Yesterday, on the auspicious day of Sri Ramakrishna's birthday, yesterday was Ramakrishna's Janmaditi. For last so many days, all of us are searching for the complete English translation of Kamikagama. Yesterday, the auspicious day, please understand, after the Amavasya, it is third day, the new energy gets infused into the world through the reflection of the moon. That is when Ramakrishna happened. And exactly the same way, so many of our sannyasis suddenly all of them simultaneously discovered Kamikagama, English, and blessed. Our Sangha, with the simultaneous revelation of Kamikagama English translation to multiple sannyasis at the same time. Exactly evening. So now we have the complete translation of Purva Kamikagama, Purva Pada and Uttara Pada both. Purva and Uttara both. It's available freely in the internet. We can flash the link. Please see the link. Now it will be flashed and all the SMKT will receive an email of that link. It's done by some Shivacharyas and yes, Shivacharyas. Dr. S.P. Sabaratna Shivacharya and uploaded by the Himalayan Academy, the Kawai Hindu Monastery. In their website it is there. So I wanted all my followers. It's available as free download. All my followers to download the Purva and Uttara and read the relevant parts for your life. You may not need the how to build temples, all those parts. You may need how to take bath every day, brush yourself, apply vibhuti, do your simple puja. So whatever relevant part, please read and start aligning yourself. And all the Mahants, Kotaris, Tanedas who are part of the Sangha, you may have to read more parts, because if you are going to start a temple or start an ashram, start a center, you may need to read all those parts also. It's, I think, around 2000 pages. And I also wanted to tell every one of you, the Himalayan Academy, out of the grace and respecting the tradition, knowledge is free. They have uploaded the whole thing freely, but I request and recommend all our centers and ashrams to collect some donation as much as you can and contribute it to them directly, thanking them for this great service to Hindu tradition and Hinduism. After all, they are doing so much of service to Hinduism by bringing all this to the world and revealing these great truths by translating them and uploading it for free download. They are serving. So I recommend all our centers, ashrams, when you download and use this, contribute to them so that they can continue to do their good work. Let the Dharma Chakra roll. Let the wheel of Dharma roll. It will roll only when everyone who is benefited also stands by it and supports it. And I also wanted to sincerely thank, on my behalf and the behalf of Nityananda Sangha, the Himalayan Academy and Kawai Hindu Monastery for uploading this English translation for free download in the internet. And I personally want to thank Dr. S.P. Sabaratna Mahasivacharya for doing this great service to humanity. And directly instructing. So, all the Sri Mahans, Kotaris, Tanedars, email has been already sent to you with the link of Kamikagama, Purva, Uttara, both the parts. The science of enlightenment, context for life should be from 108 Upanishads. Lifestyle should be based on Kamikagama. Administration, running the Sangha, all the right, wrong, prayaschitta, enrollment, described, named in Muktikopanishad. Please understand, among the Upanishads, there are some confusions, controversies, which should be accepted as Upanishad and which should not be. So I am clearing it. 108 Upanishads named in Muktikopanishad by Sri Ramachandra Prabhu to Hanuman. That 108 Upanishads forms the most authoritative, ultimate, superior, supreme scripture for our Sangha. And Kamikagama is the authoritative book for our lifestyle, day-to-day lifestyle. And Manusmriti forms the book based on which we will be doing administration of our Sangha and living our life. So anywhere if Manusmriti is attacked, we will stand up to defend Manusmriti. Anybody attacking Upanishads or Agamas or Manusmriti, they are attacking us directly. We will stand and defend. And I also wanted to mention one more important truth. Agama, Kamikagama, as revealed by Mahadeva, nowhere Mahadeva says these agamas should be practiced and taught only by particular community people. No. He says very clearly, Shiva Vipraihi. Shiva Vipra means followers of Shiva. So understand the authority to read, practice, preach, share agamas belongs to anybody who decides to follow Shiva. That's all. The word Shiva Vipra cannot be translated as particular community. See, Namnaya Vatati, Adi Shankara very clearly declares the person who occupies his pita should be Yoni Brahmana, means born in Brahmana Yoni, born to Brahmin mother it does not say Brahmin father. Exactly. Anyhow, let's not get into the controversy. It says born to Brahmin mother. He makes it very clear. Who is a born Brahmin? He only has to sit in that seat. He doesn't say practicing Brahmin. Here, if Mahadeva wants to restrict this knowledge of Agama to certain community which comes by birth, he would have described it very clearly, because he goes to the extent of describing the measurement of your toothstick. When he is in the mood of giving such elaborate, clear description, not just the kind of a stick you should use for the brushing, the length and even thickness it describes. When he goes to that extent, he not saying this belongs to certain community by birth, the right or the authority goes by birth. He doesn't say, he didn't say anywhere. He says very clearly, Shiva Vipra, followers of Shiva. So, anybody decides to practice devotion to Shiva, who decides to follow Shiva, you have the right and authority to follow, read, practice, preach Shaivagamas. So please understand. Please understand. By revealing this to all of you and requesting all of you to align your life, I am not doing anything against the instruction or will of Mahadeva. I am only doing exactly as per his instruction. So, I am very clearly telling you, all of you have adhikara, right to read, practice, live, preach Shaivagamas. Let me come back to the Upanishads. Asurya namate lokaha antena tamasa vrita taguste pritya vigachanti eke chat mahano janaha. Understand? Right and the wrong. Right and the wrong. Good and bad. Evolution or involution. Expanding or shrinking. All these questions. What is sadhana and what is vedana? What is yoga? What is roha? All these questions answered in this one verse, with this one word, Atmahana Asurya Jijivishe Kuruvan Nevega Karmani Jijivishe Chadagun Samaha. This is the key word. The next verse, Atmahana is the keyword. There, what it means to say yes to life, what it means to say no to life. What is saying yes to life? What is saying no to life? Is clearly explained. Now, today, the subject for Vakyartha Sadas in the evening is Atmahana. Atmahana. I have a happy announcement. We have got our own property in Madurai. It is just 2 kilometers from the main bus stand, Madurai. Madurai bus stand. It means inside the city limit. We have our own property now to start the Nityananda Dhyana Peetham in Madurai. We already have city center, and now we have ashram too. So now the Sangha will start functioning in full-fledged way in Madurai. I am declaring we are going to have a beautiful school, Gurukul and temple in Madurai. Blessings to Madurai Sangha. With this, I bless you all. Let you all radiate with integrity, authenticity, responsibility, enriching, causing, living Advaita. Eternal bliss, Nityananda. Thank you. Be blissful.
So this next video that I'm sharing is a video I compiled of 4 different beings from different backgrounds saying the exact same thing in their own expression of what is subjective truth and how everyone is right and entitled to their subjective truth, which is their truth.
Today I am continuing on the same sutras. Yesterday's sutras. 119th sutra, chapter 3rd and 30th verse, 1/3 verse. Altered states of awareness. Etena bhuta indriyeshu dharma lakshana avastha parinama vyakyataha. I think I read out the translation yesterday. Today I will start exploring one dimension of this sutra. Yesterday I was revealing one truth related to this sutra. One, when you expand your understanding about the different states of awareness, your fear, greed, joy, everything changes. Naturally, many of the problems which you think as problem disappears. When the awareness is too clouded, too narrow, it sees even a mustard seed as mountain. Please understand. I'll define enlightenment. Enlightenment means having expanded complete understanding about the cosmos continuously, and ability to maintain that understanding in your muscle memory and biomemory continuously. That's all. I'll give you one example. If you sit and watch some movie which is related to space, where they explain in a very detailed and in a very interesting way, sun, moon, other stars, other galaxies, the whole cosmos. You see that kind of a movie, especially if you see in IMAX theater, for 3 hours, you are completely transported to a different space. Suddenly, when you come back and understand, oh, you are coming back to the planet Earth, and your continent, your country, and your state, your city, your village, finally, the compound where you are staying. You'll feel, oh God, such a huge universe. What are we? Small dust and ants, human beings. We are fighting for such silly things. I always used to feel whenever I land in a flight, when you are there, the whole universe, the whole cosmos is there. By the time the flight lands into the compound wall of the airport, you know this useless, idiotic system of the state, country, politics, ownership, land. When the aircraft is landing inside the compound, when the compound wall of the airport is growing and growing around you, you just know, God. Where was I and where am I? That is exactly I feel whenever I open my eyes. Where was I? Where am I? All happens in you is just desha. See, Patanjali here uses the word, very beautiful word. He uses the word bhuta. Just you had an understanding about bhuta, elements. for the 2 hours when you saw that IMAX movie, or the 2 hours when you were in the flight, you had a broad understanding about elements, that's all. Just that one understanding has suddenly shifted you to a different space. If you can catch what I am saying, you will understand. To us, if you see some movie related to space, and slowly get back to this so-called ugly, dirty, third-rate, abused reality. That is the truth. The moment you the moment the aircraft lands on the airport, you know you are very conscious to this foolishness. Oh God, how nice it will be if I stay there itself. I am giving you one example. I have seen when the flight is high in the sky, whole thing looks like a small dust, and you don't bother who is Prime Minister, who is President, who is Chief Minister, who is Governor, who is police, who is lawyer, who is judge. The moment you land, especially slowly when the walls of the airport is seen bigger and bigger, from there if you see, actually it looks like a matchsticks arranged. When the matchsticks grow to a 10 feet wall, and when you come down, suddenly you realize, oh God, you are in a large prison. Understanding about one element for few hours itself can give such a liberated experience. Then understand all the 5 important factors: time, element, state, awareness, and sense organs. If you understand all these 5 in a very broad way, then understand the depth of the freedom you will experience. A man who never accepts any meditation technique or any ideology related to surrendering or practice, J. Krishnamurti, even he accepts sitting with everyday sunrise and sunset. That is only ritual he promoted his whole life. During sunrise and sunset, he asks you to sit and surrender yourself to the whole. It's a very powerful technique, I tell you. Just during sunrise and sunset, sit. You will suddenly feel, God, universe is too big. Your problems are too small. The foolish few thousand, few hundred acres which you can fence it and have it as yours. And the dirty, foolish things for which you are wasting your whole life is nothing but small pebbles lying around here and there. The diamond and gold for which you sacrifice your whole life.
Says, I got two more questions. He says, who is God? He says, well, that's probably the easiest question I've been asked since I started this. Now, remember I said at the beginning of this seminar What is a thought? Hold a thought in your hand. A thought is not of this world. Okay, everyone in this room studies this word God. Matter of fact, we have 5,000 different sounds of words for the word God. It's a very unique word. Now, you also, when you study God, you also study the devil, what evil is. So you have to, it's called perspective. You have to know what's good and you have to know what's bad. So you have an understanding of what choice is. Now, because you have choice, you can choose to be a good person or a bad person. Now, everyone in this room, you will read different books at different ages, at different times. You will talk to different people, your brothers, your sisters, your parents, your ministers at the school, at the church, teachers, and all through life you accumulate information. The end result is we all have 1,000 separate definitions that we have accumulated to answer one word. So, and that word, God, because you all have 1,000 different sources of research to answer that one word, now says that God has created man's image. Image, imagination, creation, art. So each one of you formulates your own definition based on your own subjective interpretation of your own educational capacity, your own IQ. IQ is based on the amount of percentage of your brain activity that you use for thinking. To come to a conclusion, to stand in front of a mirror, look at yourself and say, I know who God is, based on these definitions. And no one, I don't care who you are, can tell you who your God is because they weren't there for your 1,000 points of study. And everyone in this room has a different 1,000 points of study and answer the same word. And you also have 1,000 points of study to answer the bad things. What is evil? What is wrong? What is a lie? It's called perspective. So we all choose to be good. We all choose to be correct. And we all choose to stand in front of a mirror and look at yourself and say, I know who God is. And I believe in that person. Or I believe in that entity. And that's the definition of who God was. And everyone in the audience applauded. Because who is it? It's your own subjective interpretation of what you understand that word to mean, based on your ability to look yourself in the eye and say, I accept this to be the fact. And that's as simple as it gets. He says, okay, he says, we all agree that that's the definition. He's got one more word for you. What do you know about women? And I says, absolutely nothing. He says, see, you can't answer every question. And 38 women stood up and said, that's the right answer. And all the and all the men in the audience applauded. Number 6 is, with the correct sentence structure, communication, parse, syntax, grammar. Okay, what does that mean? Well, there's a thing, you hear the word right, you hear the word truth. Truth is an opinion, by the way. Everybody believes in God, that's your truth, but that truth is based on your opinion of subjective interpretation, so therefore truth is an opinion. And O means no, and PIN means to attach, and ION is contract. So you have no attached contract because your subjective interpretation of your ability to communicate with any other individual is based on that other person's ability to understand what you're saying in the first place, which is babble, because it's all adverb-verb scenario. Now, I may be talking to you in adverb-verb because that's the only language you understand. If I stood up here and talked to you and for this knowledge of this individual is with the claim of the correct parse, syntax, grammar, start using prepositional phrases, this would not jar well with your perception. And you'd kind of get lost. So it takes about 200 hours to adapt to this technology. And you will get a migraine headache because you're all brainwashed not to see an article. You might think that's a joke. It's not. Sublimic messaging through TV, radio, newspapers and magazines, school books have been there your whole life, right in front of you. We hide it in plain view, just like we hide a flag in plain view, and we cancel this contract by putting a Coke can on top of the staff, which is a phoenix in this case. If the wingtips are down, it's a phoenix. If they're up, it's an eagle, which is postal. So you can either be under postal guise or you can be under the Vatican guise. Either way, you're under somebody's guise, G-U-I-S-E. It's not a disguise, it's a guise, G-U-I-S-E. Dis meaning no guise. This means no, by the way.
So historiography in Hawaii. First of all, what's historiography? Very easy definition. Historiography is the process of the creation of history. It's not history, it's the process. So this is a history book. How did this person get this information? Who did they talk to? Who did they not talk to? Every history that's ever been written is exclusionary. Now that sounds awful, but it has to be. You cannot talk to everyone. If you're writing a book, a history of World War II, you're gonna go talk to 20 million people? No. You're gonna choose, right? And sometimes those choices are purposeful, sometimes they're just, you only have so much time. So in your history, did you talk mostly to older folks and not younger? Mostly men and not women? Mostly Native Americans and not these folks, or white folks and not these folks, and so forth? That all makes up your historiography, okay? So historiography is that process. The process of the creation of history in Hawaii has been flawed for over 100 years. I call it the 6%. Approximately 95% of the published materials about Hawaii and Hawaiians comes from English language sources. 95%. And that's a low estimate, I bet. If you go into the library and you pull up histories of Hawaii, and you have 100 books, at least 95 of those are going to be sourced only from English language sources. Now, does that mean it's all lies? No. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying you've got one part of the story. Hawaiians wrote prolifically, yeah? 100,000 pages of Hawaiian language newspapers, tens of thousands of government documents in Hawaiian, correspondences, legal documents, everything. But we haven't read those. So we've gotten the story from the ship captains, the missionary sons, and so forth. Again, not that that's wrong, but it's a tiny view. It's as if we saw a murder and there were 10 witnesses, and we went and took one person and pulled him aside and took the story and then wrote the report. There's 9 other witnesses, right? Hawaiians witnessed and took part in Hawaiian history, and they wrote about it. But we haven't listened to them yet until recently. So that's been one of our big problems. The 6% comes from Helen Chapin, who wrote quite a bit about Hawaiian newspapers and so forth, and she wrote that about 6% of the population was was English-speaking at the time, or only English-speaking at the time of the overthrow. So you're talking about 94% of the voice that's elided.
Now, the Hawaiians' philosophy of life is that at birth, each of us is given a bowl, and in this bowl is what they call the true light. Remembering that the Hawaiian way of speaking is to do it in metaphors, and the bowl is a metaphor for your body. The light is you. The mountain that we are all climbing is life. Now, in this concept, what we are supposed to do on this earth in this life is nurture this light that is in the bowl. In nurturing the light, you cause your light to grow, and once you have gotten your light to grow to its fullest, you will have gained all knowledge. You will be able to fly with the birds, swim with the sharks. They also say in your bowl, if you do enough stops, you end up with a bowl full of stones. And you, like your bowl, you become a stone. You will not grow or gain any more knowledge. If at any time you wish to change, they tell you that it's really very simple. All you've got to do is turn that bowl upside down, allow the stones to fall. When you right side up the bowl, the light will be there. Begin to nurture the light. As you continue on your journey to reach the top of the mountain, what you will come to realize and understand is that you do not understand the person next to you. So whenever you sit down to discuss important subjects, opinions are going to be 180 degrees from each other. And what that means is you're right. Person next to you is right. Everyone is right. For opinions come from the path that we walk as we try to reach the top of the mountain. And once you've reached the top of the mountain, where you're able to walk the perimeter of the mountain, looking down on each and every trail that leads up to the top of the mountain. Only then, and then alone, will you be able to understand the person next to you as well as the rest of the people.
So, with that, of subjective truths, of diversity and opinions, and all of those are based off of the 1,000 points of study or the subjective experiences thus far, coupled with the direction or aspirations that being is in the process of manifesting. So, as well as their perspective on there's really only two kinds of people: those who are looking to enslave others, or those who are looking to liberate others. So it gets very challenging to navigate through all these different beings and the confidence of their subjective truth, which is nothing wrong. It's just that everyone is not being raised as such and be able to navigate, even through to being able to agree or to disagree. To agree to disagree is the highest human capacity, where agreeing to disagree and not having that disagreement affect the relationship or friendship, much like ice cream flavors, people's favorite ice cream flavors. So in that understanding of that diversity, there has been difference in opinion as to what happened, resulting in one side executing a military tribunal. And for me, I have not seen the video yet, but just like anyone can submit a lawsuit, anyone can submit a military tribunal based off of my own research that I did tonight. And this attorney here, and Mayor, is a specializes in military disputes of military personnel, armed forces, or members of the armed force, or whatever. So I'm just going to read what he shares on his website. What exactly is a military tribunal? A military tribunal is a judicial body empowered to make legal decisions and declare punishments in relations to breaches of military law. Military tribunals are often used to try enemy spies or members of enemy forces during wartime, but their use is not limited to wartime contexts. In the United States, military tribunals are authorized by Congress, and the President has the power to convene them. In general, anyone who is subject to military law can be tried by a military tribunal. This includes members of the armed forces. This encompasses all individuals who are serving or have served in the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine Corps, or Coast Guard. Active duty personnel, reservists, and National Guard members are all subject to military law and can be tried by a military tribunal if they are accused of breaking the law. Enemy combatants are individuals who are fighting against the United States in a war or other armed conflict. They can be tried by a military tribunal if they are accused of breaking the law. civilians working for the military. This includes contractors, employees of defense companies, and other civilians who are working for the military. Any of these individuals can find themselves subject to military law and in a military tribunal depending on the circumstances. So this is where leading up to this, I was sharing how different cultures handle disputes or behavioral issues for the collective. And those behavioral issues are more of a opinion based on a collective narrative that a given area operates in. That's why different countries have different laws. So, based on others' norms that I sit and sift through with no opinion and in my heart asking and praying to inspire more of a collaboration and working together. But this is where I didn't know about Zionism and all of that until I decided to look into it, and very blessed that Dr. Shiva covers it from his perspective. That actually gave me a lot of clarity, and not just clarity of all these ideas, but what I personally run into. And I have been explaining it as we need to have we in dialogue. The blessings in the way that I'm presenting it and sharing it is that in the global neighborhood, right? One dharma is not, it's only going to lead to war in the neighborhood, of course. So being shown another perspective of the same thing is essentially, it's a mental setup. Zionism is not as per what one thinks, but the way that Dr. Shiva, from my understanding of what he said, and from my own perspective of, yeah, that makes sense, is it's the superiority complex. That's where it stems from. And then the language and behavior patterns, speech patterns and behavior patterns become the same when it is about enslaving or oppressing someone or looking down upon others. Looking down is one thing, but to use and abuse them, which is enslavement, is a whole other thing. So when it comes to, for me, because I'm a third party to the Hawaii Kingdom issue, and all of their issues are theirs. It's like a family issue. Has nothing to do with an outsider. And the third party, myself, is holding that space of how can we communicate and work together, because that's the main issue, and that's why so many things fall through the cracks, because there's so much negativity and infighting, and that's where it gets taken advantage of, because too busy doing all of that. So this is my attempt to de-escalate the situationship that's going on, because it just feels like everyone is going in the same direction, or trying to anyway. It just becomes down to creative differences as well as lack of communication. And so, because of those shortcomings, right? And many times those shortcomings are not a direct fault of individuals. Yeah. How to stop the jumping to conclusion. So for us, we encourage people to do unclutching meditation, because a lot of times the mind is going warp speed when all of what the mind is presenting is not actual and factual reality. And jumping on those emotional ups and roller coasters is where war ends up happening. So that's why I choose to do the unclutching meditations at the end of my presentations or video podcast. Well, I don't even know what to call it, because as much as I want to move forward with, having something official, I can't, right? I'm in the middle of a war zone and doing everything that's like full on integrity. And the burn some days does get pretty intense, because it's just like, well, I would like to, but it just me, right? But even then, saying me means nothing. Means nothing. So, one day at a time. Whatever's unfolding is unfolding, and I trust the process. So, we'll just see how this unfolds. Thank you so much for coming and watching. I hope what I'm trying to communicate makes sense, and I'm trying to help mitigate the escalation of jumping to conclusion and vicious attacking. Because that's not helping. It's not. So, cordially inviting you to Parmashivoham, which starts on the 26th. It's a 21-day spiritual retreat, online spiritual retreat to upgrade your decision-making matrix, as well as initiated into Third Eye and Kundalini and Power Manifestation, 460 Powers of Mahadeva. There's level 1, 2, and 3, and participation graduates as such. So please come and join us to be blissful. I'm gonna go into, or first I wanted to sing this RT to you, or RT to we, is basically honoring the God particle that is in all of us. Karpura Gauram Karunavataram Samsara Saram Bhujagendaharam Sada Vasantam Hirayaravinde Bhavam Bhavani Saitam Namami Bhavam Bhavani Saitam Namami Bhavam Bhavani Saitam Namami Aratikam Samarpayami to you. Aratikam Samarpayami to me. Aratikam Samarpayami to we. So that is basically saying I celebrate the God particle in you and me and we, all of us, that God particle, or the energy, static electricity, if you want to call it. It's that by which is beyond, because it doesn't matter who you call upon as God. Static electric shock, don't care. Just like dog hair don't care, cat hair don't care, static electric shock don't care. That universal oneness space, honoring that which is in all of us.
This technique is not even to be practiced every day. No. This is supposed to be practiced effortlessly, internalized effortlessly. Suddenly at one day, you will unclutch. From the very desire of holding on to this body, you will just unclutch. Now, close your eyes. For a few minutes, I'll guide you how to consider the desires and how to suddenly unclutch from it before your mind brings any argument. Please close your eyes. Sit in a relaxed way. If some desires are arising in you, maybe desire to open your eyes or desire to move your body, any desire, just see that desire. Don't judge. There may be so many desires. Do not witness. Do not judge. Do not say right or wrong. Do not suppress. Just see. Don't say, don't think your desire is right or wrong. Just see it. Let your eyes be closed. let them come. When desires arise, let them happen. Let all the desires arise in you. Don't suppress them. Don't judge them. Don't say they are right or wrong. Just let them happen. Consider. Let them happen. suddenly, before even your mind recognizes, unclutch from all the desire and relax. Do not argue. Do not logically decide. Do not decide based on right or wrong. Just unclutch from all the thoughts. Let your eyes be closed. Just unclutch from all the thoughts. Anything comes up, just unclutch. Just disconnect. Don't judge. Don't say it is right. Don't say it is wrong. Just disconnect. Unclutch.
Thank you so much for coming. Let's close with a communion prayer for peace. Peace for you. Peace for me. Global peace. You're welcome to say a prayer of your tradition. I personally prefer silence. Thank you. Have a good evening. Aloha. Nitiananau.